The thing in fighting, the hard part about in the combat sports world is once you start to make that kind of money and you want to say, well, it never changed me. It's impossible not to change you. It's impossible to go from, where you were to where you are today financially. Floyd and I have known each other for a long time. And, when I first met Floyd, he lived in an apartment that Top Rank used to put a lot of their fighters in. Yeah. He lived in this apartment down on, I want to say it was off Flamingo. And, he just started to make some money. Yeah. So, I went over his house. He was showing me all the sweaters that he bought and all the things, Floyd's always been that guy. Yeah. He likes to shop and he likes to buy clothes. And, it started the minute he made his first dollar.
Right.
Floyd Mayweather's phony lifestyle has been criticized by UFC CEO Dana White on social media, with his recent fraudulent claims of property ownership and numerous outstanding debts serving as his primary points of reference. In an interview, the UFC CEO was questioned about Floyd Mayweather's phony lifestyle.
One of his security guards.
Do you think Floyd is definitely done?
No, I don't know if he's done. I mean, he could probably come back and he'll have a boxing match. I don't take away from what Floyd's accomplished in boxing, but he's stepping way over.
Dana White, who is well aware of Floyd Mayweather's earnings from his bout with Conor McGregor, said that Floyd is a wasteful spender and that no one with common sense would go bankrupt after making so much money from a sport. Floyd lacks self-control and leads an extravagant lifestyle. Every other day, Dana White questioned how someone could be so wasteful and avoid financial difficulties.
Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, which ironically is a boxing event, but it's the biggest combat sports fight ever.
What did that gross?
It did 4.4 or 4.5 million buys at $100 a buy.
Yeah.
He went on to say that Floyd Mayweather wasn't a billionaire, citing enough evidence to support his claim. He also compared him to some UFC fighters who didn't make a quarter of Mayweather's boxing earnings, but always lived within their means and earned a very modest lifestyle.
Ring with somebody you know well, somebody you have worked with, obviously, Floyd Mayweather. I have been dying to hear your perspective, your thoughts, what you actually think about this YouTuber fighting maybe the greatest boxer of all time, Floyd Mayweather.
Listen, I understand. These kids want to make some money and, they do what they got to do and say what they got to say to try to, get in there and make money.
Although I don't know much about Floyd's financial situation, I do know that he is not a billionaire, and if he is, he has no right to spend that manner. This means that half of his net worth is spent on jewelry, which is illogical given his claims. Dana White brought up one of Mayweather's interviews in which he stated that he made $300 million a month and called it a liar. He once claimed that he made $300 million a month, but only naive people thought that his mouth was full of lies, which is why every store in every city called him out on his debts.
Yeah, Nate Diaz apparently wants $20 million to fight next. Is he going to see $20 million? That's
my boy.
Yeah.
Hey, I never say never.
Mayweather is a classic gambler who brags about his wins but never tells you about his losses. A fan commented in the comment area to corroborate this. Floyd has never demonstrated a great regard for money, and his frequent returns are undoubtedly motivated by a need for cash. In the past, Floyd's poor financial management has been detailed by individuals like 50, and another fan has contributed evidence to support White's assertions. Floyd most likely has some lucrative endeavors, but there's no guarantee that they won't be outweighed by poor choices or careless spending. Every month, Mayweather earns $300 million.
Unique few that was able to capitalize on his fame, his personality, and everything else outside.
Another admirer trolling Floyd wrote, "Dude can't even read as long as he is able to buy whatever trinkets he wants and bet both sides, so he can brag about winning. He has zero clue about his finances." Not that he isn't a very rich man. He simply doesn't realize it because he can't even count to 300. Floyd may be a billionaire, but based on his actions, only a small portion of that money is liquid enough to be useful. He claims to have invested about $300 million in a real estate company, which is not the best investment if you want to have some cash on hand. Lastly, one logical fan has a more accurate calculation to address Floyd's position.
See coming, and when a guy like Floyd Mayweather starts putting it on you, it's not even going to be a fight. It's going to be ridiculous.
One excellent example of Dana White's allegations was when Mayweather uploaded his taxes online, claiming to have paid $18 million to the U.S. government. However, this quickly backfired, with some claiming the check was fraudulent because it lacked a routing number, and others claiming Mayweather gave himself an excessively high sense of importance and narcissistic tendencies. The tax disclosure followed Mayweather's payment of more than $1.1 million for Super Bowl tickets. The former sports king intends to transport a busload of fans to the magnificent Allegiant Stadium for the major event on Sunday afternoon.
YouTuber fighting maybe the greatest boxer of all time, Floyd Mayweather.
Listen, I understand these kids want to make some money, and they do what they got to do and say what they got to say to try to get in there and make money. This is going to be such a one-sided, ridiculous ass whooping. It's not even going to be funny. It's going to be bad.
Although World Boxing News reported that Mayweather had been offered a VIP pass to the Super Bowl, the former fighter wanted to bring a group of guests, so he offered a large sum of money for no special treatment. I don't kiss heads, and I never have to beg for nothing, especially not to get a Super Bowl suite, Mayweather declared. Sometimes I don't mind receiving invitations, but the person who is paying does all the talking. So I have my own chairs and suites to do as I want and invite as I please to who I desire. I'm fortunate to be taking 34 people to see the inaugural Super Bowl in Las Vegas. The entire cost came to an incredible $1.1 million. It's unfortunate for Mayweather that Detroit, his home team, lost by just one victory.
And you look at what he has, his craft Irish whiskey, and I think he has a beard now. He goes from wearing sandals to have mink slippers. He goes from living in very meager house to living in an ivory tower. And he hadn't fought. I'm looking at it we last fought January 2020. What do you expect when he steps back into the ring?
He's at a place in his life and in his career that, he shows up every once in a while.
Including his tax payment, Mayweather stated, "Just before I paid that light million in change for that little Super Bowl stuff, I had to pay the IRS, also known as Uncle Sam, $18 million. This is what I owed in taxes while I'm retired. So imagine what I was paying when I was active." Mayweather has earned well over $500 million from boxing since he quit in 2015. He also owns a posh club in Las Vegas and has outside property interests. All of these things demonstrate that rumors that the moneyman is broke or even close to it are untrue. But outspoken hip-hop MC turned businessman 50 Cent believes Floyd Mayweather may be bankrupt or at the very least dealing with tax issues.
But look at Canelo. Canelo is still the man.
Yes. He's been for a long, long time.
And he jumps in there and he does it and he goes to work, and it's hard to stay at that level for a very long time. And Canelo's another guy. I mean, what's this guy clipping 40 mil a fight?
Easy.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Not including what he's making outside of the